Are you a working woman, or do you have anybody at your home as a working woman? So this is for you, but also for the preliminary examination as well as mains examination of UPSC, GS mains paper 3rd. And of course, if we talk about prelims, there are certain facets of it that you can take out for prelims as well. So as I have already in a hint introduced you the topic, we are going to talk about the major reasons which are, of course, very important for you to understand why there is an employment gap with respect to men and women. Now, that's not rocket science, that of course gender discrimination. Let us talk about that then. So there are many topics that we are going to cover under this. It's going to be jam-packed with facts. And moving ahead, let us talk about Oxfam India, because the report that we are going to quote here is from Oxfam India. Oxfam India is a movement of people working to end discrimination and also create a free and just society to ensure that the marginalized group, Adivasis, Dalits, Muslims and women and girls, they have the safe violence-free lives. Also, they have the freedom to speak their mind, have an equal opportunity to realize that, right? And discrimination-free future. So that is why they have researched the entire ground-based reality when they have come up with the report. Their basic areas of work, states of work include Assam, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Odisha and Uttar Pradesh. Moving ahead, let us talk about gender discrimination. What is gender discrimination? It is a term that is of course free of any biases. Here I am telling you, gender does not mean only women, but also men as well, and also other marginalized group such as people who identify themselves on different sexual orientation. So gender discrimination is that, but more so it has always, mostly in the most cases I am saying, it has been inclined in favor of men and versus other genders. That is why this is something that we have to speak about. Gender discrimination is when someone is treated unequally or disadvantageously based on their gender. And it not only means any sort of sexual discrimination or sexual harassment that is included in gender discrimination, but it also includes harassment, discrimination which is based on sex, gender identity or gender expression. Okay, not only biologically but other, because biologically you might have a certain amount of knowledge about what you are, but of course your orientation can differ from that. So on that basis also gender discrimination can occur. So moving ahead, let us talk about why women do not participate as much in the labor force as men. Sometimes it is prohibited for women because of the culture that exists in certain countries. Other than that, there are many other reasons. We will see that as well. So first that. Secondly, we see that there is a reason when women do not want to work for certain reasons. Let us see them. First, it can be there is no work in the area. Second, illness or physical disability can also be one of the reasons. Other reasons not specified, but husband or in-laws do not want me to work because of the cultural mindset. If they belong to a well-off family, they can be asked, why do you want to work? We have so much to offer you, so just sit at home and relax. But it is not about economic situation. It's sometimes, and most of the times, it can also be related to empowerment. A sense of satisfaction which comes when you are working is unmatched when it comes to any other economic prosperity you have at home. No need to work. Again, there might be certain reasons. Either there are too many people working and they want to stay at home. Other than that, they have too much on their plate and maybe they have money as well. Wages are less or irregular. Another point. Insecurity at workplace, sort of gender discrimination or harassment. Or parents don't want me to work. Most of the times we do see that cultural issues arise whenever a woman wants to work. Other than that, wages, because of the discrimination in wages also sometimes is there. You can say lack of opportunities with respect to promotion, so all that. The burden of unpaid work or care economy, where the primary caregiver is always, dedicated to being a woman. The primary caregiver is always a woman in the Indian society and many other Southeast Asian countries. It is a societal problem. It is not something that has been there from the biology of being a woman. A woman is not born, a woman is made. So primary caregiver as women, they have always been burdened with the domestic work. So in India, they perform 9.8 times the amount of unpaid care work than men, which leads to unpaid work, and it contributes to trillions of dollars in India, which is of course not there. Many women themselves prefer to follow traditional gender roles. They just are satisfied with the fact that they are women and they are just happy in their homes, which is also fine. This is a pro-choice. Lack of opportunities. Lack of opportunities can range from not having the correct policies at work. Sometimes women do want to work from home, but that is not available. Other than that, it might be possible that certain times work needs you to stay late till late hours, which might not be suitable for certain women. So that is also the thing. Or they may be qualified. They may be qualified enough, but they are not being paid enough. Gender and pay discrimination is emanating from lack of opportunities only. Now, highlights of the reports do suggest that gender discrimination is the reason for 98% of the employment gap between males and females. And because of societal and employers' prejudices, what happens whenever a male and a female candidate might apply for the same role and they have the same educational qualification, males tend to get preferred more, because if certain times it happens that not all private sectors I'm talking about certain private sectors who think that if they employ a woman, they might tend to give them paid maternity leave, or if they're already married and have kids, they are thought of that they are going to devote more times in the domestic work and not help with the company, which is completely wrong. So societal and employers' prejudices are also there. 93% of the gap in earnings of males and females is due to discrimination, because there is a thought process that males and females, they have different intensities of doing a work, and majorly it happens to be favorably inclining towards men. Men are seen to be more you can say dedicated towards their work or more hardworking. Other than that, as high as 91.1% of the gap in earnings between males and females is explained by this discrimination only. And the lower wages for salaried women are due to 67% of the discrimination. 33% is due to lack of education and work experience. That is fine. This can be there for males as well. But here also, if we compare those two people, male and female, who have this issue, females tend to get less employed. Okay. Moving ahead, let us talk about the sources from which this report has taken its data. The 61st round National Sample Survey data on employment and unemployment, the PLFS of 2018-19 and 2019-20, All India Debt and Investment Survey by the government. So everything is taken from that. So moving ahead, let us talk about the PLFS of 2019. And the key highlights you can see, 17.5% women are in labor force in India compared to 55.5% men. A whopping difference. Then 5.7% women are in the labor force but unemployed compared to 6.1% men. Then we have 35 to 39 women in the age group of 15 to 59 who received formal vocational technical training, but they are out of the labor force. Other than that, 51.5% age group of women where the fall in FL, female labor workforce participation, was the sharpest 9 percentage points. Okay, and a sharp 54.8% women are in the unorganized sector, which is much more prevalent to discrimination, harassment and whatnot. Other than that, other things are also there, but we had to be concerned with that only. Gender gap index has also flagged certain concerns in India. Since its inception period of 2006, World Economic Forum has published the gender gap index. It has put India at 135 out of 146 countries. In 2021, India was ranked 140 out of 156 countries. And economic participation and opportunity, which is one of the indexes under it only, it says that the percentage of women who are part of the labor force, wage equality for similar work, earned income, etc. Here, India ranks as low as 143 out of 146 countries. And even though its score has improved if we compare it from the last year 2021 to from 0.2326 to 0.350, India has scored much lower than the global average. Only certain countries are below India here with respect to the economic participation and opportunities. Iran is worse performing. Pakistan and Afghanistan, they have performed worse than India. Moving ahead, let us talk about the theory of glass cliff, which was much talked about in recent times. Let us talk about that. This phenomenon is prevalent in many countries, and it is prevalent in many fields: finances, real estate, technical, educational, where it reinforces the stereotypes about women or people belonging to the marginalized committee not being ideal in leadership position. See, whenever a company performs badly, it is associated with financial problems, bad press. What happens then? Companies do things such as they might want to protect the male members of the company by putting the women on leadership roles. Now, when women are put at leadership roles in such scenario where company is already performing badly, then what happens? They are already set for failure, and then because of the company's reputation of being a poor performing company, also as to be seen progressive, they have elevated a woman to the post of CEO, say CEO. So what happens? She has already been set for failure, and now if the company performs poorly, she can be replaced with another man, she can be replaced by the person of other gender. And what happens? That it reinforces the stereotype that because she was a woman, she was not able to lead the company. So it's a glass cliff theory. And what happens? Why do women take this particular opportunity? Because they already tend to they rarely get such opportunities, and men tend to reduce the risks by denying the opportunity. So women, because they have a lack of opportunity, they also tend to agree to the position, and it hinders the future growth. Because what happens once they're replaced by the member of the other gender, like men, and what happens, their growth in other projects, in other companies, they can be hindered, because they will be asked, why were you the CEO, or why were you the top leader in that company when it was performing poorly? And although it makes look the company progressive, but trust me, this has happened in many cases, mostly in the cases of, you can say, big internet companies. Moving ahead, let us talk about one report. The Deloitte Global Women Report says, although India saw a decline in board chairs held by women in 2021, it witnessed an increase in the number of women taking up CEO roles. 4.7% female CEOs against 3.4%, which were reported in the year 2018. Moving ahead, let us talk about the constitutional provisions with respect to these. Now, I have produced these many articles. First is right to equality, and second, 15 and 16. You have to tell me in the comment segment what are these. Then Article 21 is right to life and liberty, and life with dignity. That is not only to men and women, but all the genders. Okay. So tell me in the comment segment how Article 15 and 16 related to what we are talking about here. Now, Article 39 says that the citizens, men and women, equally have the right to an adequate means of livelihood. Other than that, preamble also suggests that India will give opportunities, justice with respect to economy as well, to everyone in the same manner. So we see that constitutional provisions have made the mindset of India progressive. But there are certain things that we have to do. Society needs to change. For that, we should teach our children how both the genders are actually the same in manner, and there is no inherent biological defect in one gender over the other. That means we have to teach them at the school level, we have to teach them at the family level, by treating our sons and daughters equally. And government policies should also be made robust, not only on the paper level, but implementation level as well. Many a times it happens that in certain companies it can happen when a woman goes to report gender discrimination or sexual harassment, it tends to be hushed. So that can also be done, that robust policies are there. Social security net should be there, not only for women in the organized sector, but mostly in the unorganized sector, because we saw that 54% of the women are working in the unorganized sector. Moving ahead, let us talk about why do we even need women to work. India is home to about 25% of the all women affected by gender inequality. Lack of women's economic dependence may lead them to be in a relationship which is violent in nature, or stay in a family which is inherently asking for dowry and all that. So because of the economic dependence of the woman, she might not want to move out of the family, and that can result in death as well. According to a noteworthy McKinsey report, India could add $700 billion of additional GDP in 2025 if they introduced more gender neutral policies with respect to economic opportunities. It will also help bring 68 million more women into the economy over the period, achieving gender parity in economic participation. Okay, now let us talk about our question that I have to attach over here for this segment. Who among the following propounded the term glass cliff? Julian Herbert, Amartya Sen, Abhijit Banerjee and Esther Deflo, Alexander Aslam and Michelle K. Ryan. So you have to tell me in the comment segment. Just give me a moment. I will take the names of those who have answered my last question correctly with respect to in-depth. So last question which I asked was with respect to the segment Hindi language, right? So the correct answer was Pandit Jugal Kishore Shukla. And many of you have answered it correctly. The option D was correct. And Uttam, Renuka, Medha, Preeti, Chirasmita, Harsh, Akash, Komakalu, Sachin, Arun, Mini, Pallavi, also Ishika, then Ayushman, Divyani, Tushita, Raju, Sandeep, Suraj, Harish, Shivam, and Prachi, Amrita, Ishika, sorry, not Ishika, Amrita, Naka, then Isha Raj, Vinay, Arshad, Vipin, Archana, Nibha, Study Days Diary has answered it correctly. Saksham, also Jay Gandhi, then Rabin, then Ambuj, Vikash, Ashu, Deepak, also Neha and Anukul, Divyajyoti, Abhay, Chandrakant, Faizu, Darshan, Nisha, Akansha, Shrishti, Anuj, Divyanshu, Bhanu, Mohammad Kaif, Raghav, Balaji, Buskuria, Rupal, Bukish Gyan with Miss Preeti has answered it correctly. Simran, Atul, Anamika, Saurav, not Divyanshi, Saurav, Shubh, Chetna, also Abhirami, Arsalan, and Modi Creation, UPSC Hub, and Samir, Volcano Production, Aditya Birla, Ajit, you're welcome. Santosh, thank you so much. Yes, you all have answered it correctly. So answer this question as well. I will try to include as many names as possible. Thank you so much.